Hello, welcome back. And I shall start this episode by making a very important announcement, which is that I have updated my version of Timberwolf's trains, and we now correctly have some very tiny pixelated barrels sitting in our open wagons rather than just sodium hydroxide invisibly disappearing into the ether as it's loaded. So, as I mentioned at the end of the last episode, we wanted to start integrating this network, and that means taking some of the sodium hydroxide. Now we have barrels for it. It means taking it over to the New Rock sodium drop, putting it here, and then having engineering supplies, and using some of the engineering supplies to go back and increase the production of the sofa ash mine, and then transporting more goods to the Bryan Works, and then transporting more sodium hydroxide back. And this, by the way, this is a very common thing. This is pretty much how FIRS games goes. You build these sort of very tightly integrated networks, and then something very minor goes wrong, and then you stop. The first part of that chain breaks, and then the second part of the chain breaks, and then the third part of the chain breaks, and then you spend most of your time trying to recover. This is why FIRS is good compared to the base game economies, because you spend an awful lot of time trying to actually make your network efficient, make it predictable, and that's all very good fun. So we were last time as we were looking at the salt, because we weren't transporting enough salt. More salt, and one of the reasons we're not transporting enough salt. Yes, my passenger network is rubbish. Stop rubbing it in my face. This is going to be this is going to be because they're getting expensive. So take these. Let's go. And right, this can go on in the background. This doesn't need to be a foreground thing. Let's pay back our loan a bit. We want to look at this. So this is quite inefficient, and why is this inefficient? So looking at this horse is taking a little while to pass this signal, at which point this becomes available for horses to go forward. Well, this one is already loaded, and this one's already waiting. So our problem here is just everything is waiting. So let's have a few more signals. These are going to cost us money to maintain, but let's live with that for now. So now what I should be doing is I should be putting these at even distances, but let's let that leave it be for the time being. Let's just hope we can get some more horse throughput. So we sort of let's leave those doing anything. Oh, Stevenson code. Yeah. So I'm not sure whether it came up at the end of last episode, whether it was just the sort of couple of days that I forwarded the game before I hit the record button, but Stevenson Coaches is in trouble. No, not interested. I just want look. The A is wow. Interestingly, Further Avia's become rather spiky. I wonder what Further Avia are doing. What did they build? What did they suddenly built that's become exciting? Oh, they built an Enterprise. What's most recent? Let's have a look at what's most recent that they have. So they moved into this Clacton Green. This seems to be doing quite well for them. They're doing very well, actually. This is probably what we should have been doing, is using the cheap road vehicles and just building little road vehicle networks. But no, they're rather muscling in on my turf here. Look, this dray as well, yeah. Yeah, well, let's not get distracted by the AI. I know they're getting close to us. We need to be making more profit and doing better. So let's go back to our salt. Oh, no, this is just a game of endless distraction at the moment. Let's get those. So unexpected alpacas. So I do that. That should start those being sort of just marginally profitable again. Let's set those going. And anyway, so we were looking at this. This is looking a bit smarter now. We're not seeing sort of two horses waiting to fully loaded, waiting to exit the station. So that's probably about right, capacity-wise. Really disguised llamas is there. Come on, build up some money. Come on. This spiky profit, this waiting. There we go. That's better. Right. So anyway, this is the This Guy's Lovers 2. So let's 1842, and let's go with that. And I really rather hope that especially because we're starting to suffer from the amount of infrastructure that's required to handle the low capacity horses. I'd really rather hope that we do start to get some trains which can haul larger trains, and then we have fewer, more profitable services. But we are not quite there yet, so we're going to have to suffer with lots and lots of horses, and the pain of an early game. So anyway, how are we doing with salt? Well, salt rating is good, but we're not transporting as much salt as we could be. So let's have another couple of this. This is going to require loan. See, it's all really not difficult settings. This is not really going particularly well. I'm still. When did I start? 1815. I'm quite a long way into the game, sort of 27 years into the game, and we haven't built that much. We only have this sort of network over here, and I always have this thing with the OpenTTD games that I play. I always kind of benchmark my activities against the. There was a scenario that was included in the goodbye. There was a scenario that was included in the original OpenTTD. What was the original OpenTTD? OpenTTD. Is this based on some other game, or did it spawn from the middle of nowhere in 2004? No. The original Transport Tycoon Deluxe, or rather, not quite the original, because of course it was the second game in the series. But Transport Tycoon Deluxe came with a set of scenarios. It came with sort of 10 per climate. And one of those was something called Mega Rail 1960. Mega Rail was this sort of network which was set up, and as a sort of I was young when Transport Tycoon Deluxe came out. So this was before the internet was common, at least in British households. It was quite unusual to have a net connection and modem that early. Towards the later part of the decade, it became more common. But at that point, you would not have expected someone to have access to the internet. So obviously, your only reference for what was dear. There we go. Yes, so your only real reference. Let's make sure these don't crash into each other. Yay! Right. Shall we try again with this? Your only real reference. There's no more distractions. Good. Your only real reference for what was good and what was bad was what came with the game and what the kind of game manual told you. You usually get lovely big bound manuals, and only a few of the scenarios that came with Transport Tycoon Deluxe actually had existing railway or had sort of existing networks, and one of these was the aforementioned Mega Rail 1960, which had sort of quite a large network built up. And back in the day, back with this sort of, when you hadn't seen things like OpenTTD Co-op and all of those just didn't exist. You didn't have kind of Let's Play videos where you watch people create huge networks. You didn't have the sort of forums where people were showing off these really advanced junctions. And Mega Rail 1960, which had a sort of 20 or 30 train network. I forget how big it was. Something is going wrong here. So it had this network, sort of 20, 30 train network that was relatively huge. When I came to it, I've been playing sort of Transport Tycoon for about a year. Wasn't very good at it. I mean, as you can see from the fact that we're in the red, I wouldn't exactly say I'm very good at it now. I don't know why I'm putting myself in a position of authority trying to give you tips and things. But yes, anyway. Transport Tycoon, I've been playing for about a year, and kind of maybe like my best games, I would have a few tracks and a few trains, and maybe if I was really bold, sort of the trains would run on the same line, and they would have signals, and they would get into horrendous messes because you didn't have one-way signals, so you couldn't really direct where the trains would go to any great length. You just kind of put signals and hoped, and then this Deluxe ships with this scenario, which has this huge interconnected network, and it looked incredible back at the time. Mega Rail, really, it was quite a profitable company as well. It would make about 100,000 a year or something like that, and it was really impressive. And so, as a result of that, I always benchmark my games when I'm playing them of within 10 years, which was the length of time that the Mega Rail player had played those games. Have I built something that's as impressive as Mega Rail 1960? And the answer here with difficulty settings like this is maybe not, because we were talking back in the day about sort of 256 by 256 maps, and this is one thing that I found going back to that game with the benefit of a two and a bit decades of internet use and people doing fancy and clever things. Going back to that game, it actually looks very tiny and sad in a tiny little... It doesn't even expand over the 256 by 256 map that it's part of. Ooh, a food service. Let's see, there's a service subsidy in that. Now, Carbridge Farm to Parkston. This is something we could just very quickly hurl up do some road, actually. Let's take a leaf out of the AI's book. So we are going to very, very quickly hurl up some tracks. And this is going to be, it's not going to be an amazing line. We want to do, that was dumb. Let's do this properly so we can set up some loading bays. This is not going to be an amazing line. It's going to just be something we do to keep the money rolling in. And see, like, this is horrific. Something has gone wrong somewhere, and I probably shouldn't be setting up things here. I should be, except mail coal food. And there we go. So if we put that there, mail coal food, that accepts mail coal food. So let's just pop that there. Let's just very quickly avail ourselves of some drays. Not an enterprise. Learn to click, you fool. So we're going to just go to there. We're going to just send these to here. And hopefully, let's just pop that. And this is going to carry food. I think if the farm does food. Yes, farm produces food. So we are just going to go a bit mad with this. This is kind of a move of desperation, which is we need something that's going to... So where did my food group go? Did I just call a group road rather than food? Was I not thinking to that? Anyway, however that came about, let's put that. So this is just very, very quickly create a road route. Boom. Take advantage of the subsidy. Get some money rolling in. Job done. Because we kind of, we do need to think about this. So yeah, yes. Anyway, Mega Rail was kind of tucked. It wasn't even... it didn't even take up the full map. It was sort of tucked in a tiny corner. And what once looked so impressive actually turned out to be a sort of a little bit of a kind of, I don't really want to use the word sad. I don't think that's quite the right thing, because, it's not sad. It was still a celebration of the nostalgia of loading this game up and seeing this amazing scenario with all of these... different trains going everywhere, but it was still sort of... This looks a lot smaller from adulthood than it did back then. So there's Mega Rail aside. So there we go. So this is doing... Is it 78? This... Yeah, I we are hitting this point that none of these things really make enough money to justify the network. And we really, really need to get a much stronger network effect out of this. So I think the sodium hydroxide horses are kind of doing okay, I think. Let's see. There's the sodium drop. So let's pop another one of those on, because that may help us with our profitability. So so it still doesn't make a huge amount of sodium hydroxide, but makes enough to probably justify another horse. Oh dear, this inefficient salt drop-off is a problem. Of course, I see the problem that I've saddled myself with here, which is that these... Oh dear, I can't make a little station like that. I'm going to just have to do this with the fixtures, I think. So let's have some empty platforms. Low platforms. Let's do that, do that. And then let's just pop signals. There we go. So that now sets up the routing and the path-based signaling, so that two sets of horses can now unload in this station. So that should improve the efficiency there. And this, the load efficiency is fairly good. Salt is rated good. We could probably get more salt out of this. And what we're starting to see now, at this point, is the horses are kind of okay, but we're having to build a lot of network in order to keep up with them, and that's really, really hurting on their infrastructure costs. So what we really need is some trains that can haul a lot of cargo, and Lion is not quite there yet. The sort of the train which is used in the film, which, I'm not going to go on about that. That probably sort of 1950s alien comedy is a little bit too obscure a reference, even for us. Ooh, excellent. So now we have a subsidized route, and look at that. What is our subsidy setting? Ooh, subsidy multiplier. This game is not as difficult as it could be. We're getting rather a good multiplier for that subsidy. But in fact, now, should we make that up into a train? Oh no, let's not get carried away with this. What we do know is that we could probably have an awful lot more of these. So let's build those up. This is something that happens with early vehicles, and we've just been having a discussion on the Transport Tycoon forums about this, of balancing these. And these vehicles are, even though they're very, very under capacity for the game, they are still hugely over capacity compared to real life. A horse carrying 12 tons over long distances up and down hills is really rather ambitious. These would be extremely hard-worked horses. They would be basically on punishment duty. So, but they still, for the game, it's somewhat ridiculous that we need to. How many are on this? I don't even want to count. 40 road vehicles. There we go. We need 40 vehicles. 40 would still not be enough. Ooh, non-luminous Bob is getting old. So what we should do there is send non-luminous Bob to a depot. And I'm just going to worsen my infrastructure cost problem, because I want I want Bob of indeterminate luminousness to go to a depot and just sit there, because if you remember, my self-defined, maybe self-inflicted challenge was that one day we want a network which lets non-luminous Bob meet up with luminous Bob. This is my hook, by the way. This is my hook for forcing you to listen to what could be potentially sort of dozens of episodes of this, is to make you sit through it, so that one day you see the glorious moment in which non-luminous Bob, constrained to the cycloped, meets up with luminous Bob, is unconstrained. And I'm just going to leave that there. I'm going to pop that out the way there. I don't think this passenger route really makes enough money to justify having sort of another cycloped or another set of these trains. All I'm going to do is yes, okay, I broke everything again, so let's not break everything. There we go. That should be timetable change time. Restop. So we are going to have a problem with that. With stop sharing the orders, right? Yes. So there we go. So non-limited pub is not sharing the orders anymore. This will need to be reset. Anyway, we'll need to let that timetable build up. But anyway, our sudden kind of inadvertent let's put road vehicles in as a sop to just, can we quickly take advantage of that subsidy, has played out well. We still have a bit of loan. We still have many problems from the fact that we're not able to keep up with our infrastructure. But this is starting to go. This is starting to get okay. The sodium hydroxide setup is okay. Now. This, yes, we still aren't quite at enhanced production, so we need to carry more units. So this, how much is this? Total cargo, 9,511 gallons. I'm not sure. I don't know what a unit is in terms of stuff. Is there a game option or a setting that we can use for this? Is there a sort of a unit that will make more sense? So speed units, volume units. Let's have a look. Meters cubed. 36 meters cubed. I think meters cubed is the actual underlying unit. So we could do that. Metric liters. Yeah, there we go. 36,000 liters. We can translate for that. We don't need to use meters cubed. So these carry 36. These little ones, and these big ones. They carry more than 36. They carry 60. So to get 128 units every 3 months. Now, how long do these take to get there and back? They take 106 days. So in fact, this really... In fact, they're slower when they're fully loaded. We're not yet at the point where we're dispatching horses with a great enough frequency that one of them is arriving. So because we need... You look at this, 60. So 128. We need 3 of these to arrive in any given 3-month period, and we're not quite there yet. So, as ever, with my world of infinite distraction, I promised great things, which is we were going to integrate the network, and actually we did nothing of the sort. All we did was sort of jam up the Brian works, and this now signals are becoming rather a problem here. 79248. How much does an extra signal cost me? 248. Yeah, the signal is costing me sort of 120 a year just to run. So there is a question here of how efficient can we make this, or do we need to start thinking about when will we get a rate train? I mean, there is another option here, which is, I think. Yes, there is another option here, but it's also, we've played for kind of long enough that we can't go to the next thing because that will just make the video take forever. So I am going to do my usual thing and force you to wait another couple of days to find out what Timberwolf's mysterious next thing is. And of course, I have to do some of the sort of standard YouTube stuff. So, if you think you know what it is, you can always mention it in the comments below. And I won't be stealing the ideas because I will have recorded the next video probably before you see it. So, this is sort of a guessing game of what secret does Timberwolf hold. But I will reveal how we are going to handle the signal cost catastrophe next time.